Big stories. Honesty. Big stories. Honesty. Big stories. Honesty. It's the Cierra Show. Hey everyone, I am here with Laura Rutledge, ESPN host. Thank you so much for joining me today, Laura. I really appreciate it. You are smack dab in the middle of football season about to start. I want to first start off with your new roles with ESPN. You're no longer the host with SEC Nation, but will you be still doing some college football?
Yes, I cannot give up college football. So I'm excited to still be on some of the big games, and I will still be seeing all the SEC fans out and about. College football means so much to me, so I'm pumped to be on those sidelines coming up here as soon as the season starts.
And you're getting a lot of more NFL things you'll be doing too, right?
Yeah, well, NFL Live every day and Monday Night Football sideline, which is so much fun. It's been such a blessing to do that. And then this year, our crew is going to call the Super Bowl. So we're incredibly excited about that. There's a lot more that's coming everyone's way from our coverage and what we'll do. Just the Disney presence on the Super Bowl adds an extra incredible oomph behind all of it. And we're lucky to be a part of that. So I cannot wait to get it all started.
And we're right in the middle of training camp for the NFL. I want to talk about the Cleveland Browns real quick. So the Browns have had 19 quarterbacks within the past decade. And now they're in between a battle with Shador Sanders and Deshaun Watson. What are your thoughts on that competition?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I think if you look at what they've invested in Deshaun Watson and the way that is seemingly he's played already in training camp, it feels to me like you need to at least give him a chance to try to be the starter for this team. But I think it really is a neck and neck battle. We heard yesterday that it felt like Deshaun took a little bit of a step back, so Shador maybe inched a little bit closer, but maybe in some people's minds, Shador has the edge, especially knowing that he is a younger player. Maybe they try to go with the youth movement there and see what Shador can bring to that offense and what Todd Monken wants to do. You know that Todd Monken wants to have a more mobile quarterback, really use QB run. We saw that be incredibly successful with Lamar Jackson with his time with the Ravens. So I'll be fascinated to see how it all shakes out. My gut tells me go to Deshaun Watson, let him, get a shot at this, see how he does. If it's really terrible, you've got Shador. But again, I can see the other side of it too. If you feel like you want to ignite a youth movement and maybe even set yourself up to get the number one overall pick. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but they could end up in that situation for sure. There's some great quarterbacks in this upcoming class.
Yeah, and speaking of other quarterbacks, right over at the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels got a new addition. Stephon Diggs just signed a $12 million 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders. Does that put pressure on Jaden Daniels now that he has Diggs along with Terry McLaurin as well as his wide receivers?
I actually think it takes pressure off of him. This
Mm.
is such a welcomed addition to this offense. I mean, Terry McLaurin has been wide receiver one for them for quite some time, and his connection with Jaden is great, especially when he's healthy and out there on the field, obviously. But when it comes to really what a missing piece of their offense could have been, they filled it, I believe, with bringing in Stephon Diggs. We knew that they were interested in Brandon Ayuk, then he started doing all the weird social media posts. That ends up fizzling out. That's not going to happen. And so they were looking for another piece. To me, what Diggs brings is a guy that's so incredibly consistent. Really, everywhere he's gone, every quarterback he's worked with, he's been consistent. He's been reliable. And if you're Jaden Daniels, and I think he's poised to have an incredible breakout season once again. We saw him fall off a little bit last year. I think we'll see a lot more similar play to what he did in his first year in the league. That he can create so much with his athleticism and his incredible ability. So to me, to have options that are really reliable and experienced, like a Stephon Diggs and a Terry McLaurin, puts him in a great spot. Diggs is wide receiver two, but he's at the level where he could be wide receiver one if he's healthy and plays at the level that we think he will play. I am really excited about this for Jaden Daniels and their new OC, David Blau.
Yeah, and speaking of Daniels, an former SEC quarterback, the Southeastern Conference has not won a national title in football since 2022. Do you think this is the year that the SEC finally breaks through again?
It's gonna be tough. I mean,
Yeah.
as much as, listen, there's a lot of people that hate on the SEC and hate on people that say the schedule is gonna be tough. It's already been difficult in conference. I think the middle of the SEC is incredibly strong. Now, you could argue, and listen, the proof's in the pudding, right? The Big Ten has been incredible these last 3 years, and the top of the Big Ten is probably stronger than the top of the SEC. But the middle of the SEC, and even what would be considered the lower part of the SEC talent wise, is still incredibly difficult to play against, and the atmospheres are difficult. So I think the gauntlet of the SEC schedule, it's already been tough. Now it goes to a 9-game schedule. It's going to be even more difficult in conference. And then you look at some of these teams that could be contenders, they're having to go out of conference and play some really difficult games, which they should. The Big Ten does that as well. We see, definitely other conferences do it, but I think it's going to be a really tough task to knock off some of these incredibly talented Big Ten teams. If I were looking at some SEC teams that could potentially do it, I would turn my attention to Texas. I think, we saw some flashes of Arch Manning last year toward the latter part of the season, especially where you saw what he really can be and getting a little bit more comfortable. They've added some great pieces to this team. I think they're going to be a contender for sure, potentially all the way till the end, at least in the final 4 teams that remain. And then I would say Georgia. I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking Georgia. They've been a team that we know Kirby Smart can get this team ready no matter really how good they are. They've definitely not had the depth that they had in the past. The transfer portal's affected that for sure, but they're still a very well coached team that has an experienced quarterback. They've got experience at key positions too. I think they'll be better than they were last season. And then you got to mention LSU and maybe even Ole Miss. I mean, LSU is a team that has a ton of expectations on it with Lane Kiffin being there, certainly, and all of the offseason action that we saw happen around them. I think the pressure is on for them to be a playoff team. Obviously, they're going to have to get even beyond just being a playoff team. I think these fans expect more. And then Ole Miss is interesting. Trinidad Chambliss being there, what a talent. And for him to go back, it just makes me automatically say they are going to be there at the end in some way, shape, or form. And I just enjoy him as a player. I'm excited that he gets another shot at the college football apple.
Yeah, it's going to be a real exciting season. I want to talk also about our alma mater, the Florida Gators. What are your thoughts on that John Sumrall hire and what he could possibly do at Florida?
Yeah, the John Summerall hire is great, right? There's a lot to be excited about with him coming in, but I do think, and Florida fans, we're all tired of this, right? We got to temper our expectations, but I just think it's going to be tough sledding for a little bit here, and a little patience with Coach Summerall is probably going to go a long way. But what I believe is now you finally got the right leader in place, the right coach in place, and we'll see how that ends up playing out. But I would say Florida is a team that what I'm hoping for all of us is that we see it to be markedly improved, even if it doesn't necessarily lead to the wins that we see happen. I think at least that progress on the field can get us excited about what's to come beyond this year. But the hard part about all this is so much is based around NIL and the money at people's disposal, and so whatever that's going to look like is a big deal and matters a lot for the future of the program. I do still think you need to have a great coach in place of talent, and that's a way to sort of get leg up on other teams. You even look at like an Indiana, a team that had struggled for a long time, and you get Kirk Cignetti in there. I'm not saying that Summerall is Cignetti, right? But there is a blueprint in this day and age of college football that seems very transfer portal and NIL driven, where you can really get guys in and say, yeah, we didn't spend, a ton of money on this roster. We were able to develop talent and really develop a team camaraderie and mindset that has led to championship type play.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your career path. Obviously, we know we went to the university. You went to the University of Florida, and then because I've heard you tell me this before, but went to the University of Florida, and then you did a lot of the radio stuff on campus. Did some stuff with like recruiting, and then you were at Fox Sports Florida doing some baseball stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so,
Yes.
made various steps throughout your career, and obviously sports media has changed so much. So what would your biggest advice be to any up and coming broadcasters?
Yeah, I think, you're right. It's changed a lot. The business has changed, but what has not changed is preparation leading the way. I think now more than ever, so many fans, and I respect the fans so much, they know a lot. There's not much that they don't know, especially if it's, pretty dialed in, not just your casual fans, but finding a way to bring them more and really serve them. And that comes with your comes with the amount of work that you do, the research that you do, but also the legwork and interviewing people and being curious and finding out interesting things. I think leading the way, with being prepared is probably the biggest key. And then I would just say be versatile. Find a way to show, future employers that you can do anything that they ask, any sport that they ask, you'll figure it out, right? Even if you don't feel like you're an expert at it, you'll spend some time, you'll learn it. Saying, yeah, I can do anything that you need when it comes to interviewing. I can host, I can, if needed, do play by play. I can hold a camera. I can edit my own work. I can bring this to you from the social media standpoint. I can have a presence on all different social platforms. Like all of those things, I think are now what everyone's looking for when it comes to hiring. And it used to sort of be that you could say, well, I do one thing and I do one thing
Mhm.
really well. I think now leading with versatility is going to really set you apart.
Yeah. And also, so every Saturday, something I really look forward to before the games is seeing your game day pics with your two kids, Reese and Jack. Will we be
Yeah.
seeing those again this year?
Well, so we let Reese decide every year if she's gonna do them. She calls them her helmet picks. Right now, I would put it at like 75% yes. She was just saying last night that she wants to do it again. She's also 6. So for a 6-year-old, it changes all the time. Jack is 3. So I would say right now, yes, but I don't know because it's up to her. So we're gonna leave that door open for her until she like officially decides. But she asks me about it all the time. She loves it. Even when she meets somebody, she'll ask me later. She'll be like, "Do you think they saw my helmet pics?" So she knows that it's very much part of her whole persona, and she loves doing it. So again, we would never do it unless she wanted to do it. But I think she's leaning yes.
That's awesome. And something that, like, studying sports journalism and getting advice from people, and I've heard, well, you can't have a normal life. You can't have kids and all of these sorts of things. And then I see people like you, Mina Kimes, who have thriving careers and also are very involved moms, and that's just so like refreshing to see.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, no, I think Mina and I are always comparing notes, and there's a lot of other great moms in the business that we really lean on each other when it comes to trying to juggle all of this. And I think what's important to know is that yes, you can definitely have whatever you want to have in life, right? If you want to have this career and you want to have kids, by all means, you can make it work. And there's a lot of us that have, been fortunate enough to make that work. But also, if you want to chase your career and wait a while to start a family, that's okay too. Whatever it is that really speaks to you, I think that's what I would emphasize is, no two people's paths are the same, right? So whatever is going to make sense for your particular journey is the most important. But what I've been amazed by, because I sort of came up in this business thinking that it was impossible. Like there was
Mhm.
no way I was going to be able to have kids. And if I had kids, it was going to ruin my career. And that was always so disappointing to me because I really wanted to have a family and I wanted to be a mom. And what I've been amazed by is just the support that everyone gives. There's a lot of times where even talking to coaches or, people that I work with and the first thing they ask is how are the kids? It becomes a bit of a bonding thing where in the past I would always be like, oh man, maybe they don't understand or maybe they don't care. Most people are just good humans. So they do care and they understand and they're sensitive to, some of the challenges that may come along with it. And there are definitely challenges, right? Like it is so hard to be away from your kids. This job requires a ton of travel. This job requires a level of commitment to sort of like dropping everything and having to show up and at all times you sort of feel like a frazzled mess. But I think there's a beauty in that and leaning into it and just embracing it and everyone understanding that no one has this figured out and I certainly don't. Every single day I'm trying to, do the best that I possibly can, but I fail all the time at that and I think, being pretty honest about that is important too.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Also, now I want to switch gears to a quick rapid fire. So, putting you on the spot here.
Right?
When talking about college football, what is your favorite campus that you've been to?
Okay, well I have to take Florida out of it because that's not fair because then I'd be
It's
super
bias,
biased.
yeah.
Yeah, but obviously I love Gainesville. The other one that I love the most is Baton Rouge. It's so much fun
Mm.
and just the culture there is incredible.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list for sure, and the
You gotta
food
go.
the food is also
Yes.
amazing, I've heard. And then what's
Great.
your favorite college football tradition?
Ooh, that's a good one.
There's a lot of
Okay, so
there's
again,
a lot
like
of good ones.
it's hard not to choose Florida. Like I love like Won't Back Down in the game is
Love that.
incredible. I love Tom Petty. So I'm gonna say a Florida one, but then the other one that's been really cool to see is Texas A&M's Midnight Yell. I've been to that a couple of times and it is wild. Like if you've never been to it, it's worth seeing just at least once in your life because it's unlike anything else that I've ever seen in college football.
Oh, yeah, it's like some people say it's a bit culty, but I kinda wanna experience it.
Yeah,
And then yeah.
it is. Right.
And then what is your favorite rivalry?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path here and say the Egg Bowl.
Oh,
Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I don't think people realize how much they actually hate each other. And some of
yeah.
the craziest games I have done have been Egg Bowl games. Just the atmosphere, the environment. It depends on where it is. Like if it's in Starkville, the cowbell's crazy. The fights that are happening, like not only on the field and on the sidelines, but also like in the stands. That one is wild and doesn't get enough credit for how crazy it is.
And then there was the dog peeing celebrations, they've had 2 of them,
Yes.
and
Yes.
last year's Egg Bowl was
Yes.
crazy because it was in Starkville, and everyone was talking about, "Is Lane Kiffin leaving? Is he staying?" All of that.
Right.
Great one.
Right.
And then, best game day atmosphere.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I would say Ole Miss because the Grove is so cool, but I want to do something that's not Mississippi since I just said that. Let's go with I love Tuscaloosa. It's neat. It's just a really cool vibe when it comes to tailgating. There are tailgates just across the board. Any type of tailgate that you want, you can find in Tuscaloosa. And I just love even just like the walk up to Bryant Denny Stadium, the Saban statue, like all the Walk of Champions. It's all really cool and just very stately and very college football, very SEC. So I'll give T Town a little love there.
Awesome, awesome. And I know your husband Josh played baseball there, right?
Did we actually met at a tailgate in Tuscaloosa? So that could be partially why I'm biased toward that.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And so
Yeah.
so he's obviously an Alabama fan. You went to Florida. Have Jack and Reese decided their allegiances yet?
So I have been at a bit of a disadvantage because Alabama has won so much while Josh and I have been married and while we've had kids. I
Yeah.
need Florida to do a little more for me here because I'm like trying to get the kids on my side. I would say right now they lean, at least Reese leans a little bit toward Alabama. She loves saying roll tide. She actually got her entire preschool class in Connecticut to say roll tide when she was in preschool, which was so
Oh
fun.
my
All these
gosh.
Connecticut kids were going home and their parents were like, where did you learn that? Nobody's saying that around here, but it was Reese. And Jack, I think Jack likes the Gators. So I'm hoping like I can recruit him more to be on my side. Reese loves Florida if Alabama's not playing. So we need to get her to understand that like all the time she needs to love the Gators.
Yeah. The gators are a cool animal, especially for a boy, I feel like to like. So maybe
Yes.
that also can sway him a bit.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Everyone, please go check out ESPN this entire fall and early in the winter because Laura will be all over, especially with ESPN hosting the Super Bowl.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye. Make sure everyone likes and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Big stories. Big